What I want to talk to you about today is carbohydrate restriction, and depending on really how your body functions, this can be a bigger issue for some of us, knocking on the door of diabetes very quickly. One of the things that I have found in my own keto diet journey is that I have to be extremely restrictive on the carbohydrates. So I'll give you a couple of examples, because one of the things I do is I track my eating on MyFitnessPal. And so it's interesting to correlate the days that my carbohydrates go higher than a restricted range. So ideally, I try and keep my carbohydrates at 20 grams of carbohydrates per day or less, and I try and keep my macros 5% carbohydrates, 80% fat, 20%, 15% protein. And so, what that does is it's interesting to watch the correlation. If I, for example, am on a business trip where my macros go out of whack a little more, so maybe I'm doing 10% or 12% carbohydrate intake for the day, I end up gaining weight most of the time. It's very interesting to watch that correlation, and so I've learned that for me, I have to be very restrictive on the carbohydrate intake, in particular because in those carbohydrates tends to be a lot of sugars. And so for me, the thing that has helped me, really accelerate the fat loss has been being very restrictive on those carbohydrates. If I don't, I tend to hit lengthy plateaus, and sometimes instead of losing weight, I'll actually increase weight. So I'll give you an example here. I'm tracking my weight on my board. In January, I was at 321 pounds. I took a 2-week trip to East Africa, during which time I was unable to really control my eating to any great extent. And so when I returned, I was at 323 pounds. I had actually gained 2 pounds due to the carbohydrate intake. As soon as I started restricting again, by March, I had already dropped 5 pounds and was back to 317. So the carbohydrate restriction has been very important for me. The other thing that I have found has some play in there too is the amount of dairy I intake. And so I love cheese beyond measure. So I'm having to cut back on my cheese intake as well. And I really discovered that in speaking with a friend who found that he was really not losing much fat or weight in this ketogenic lifestyle until he removed all dairy from the equation. I haven't had to go quite that extreme, but I certainly have had to cut back on it. So just a couple of thoughts for you on carbohydrate restriction. Part of this is trial and error with your own metabolism, your own body, seeing what works best for you, what that balance is that works best for you. I have just come to realize from blood work and from just watching the scale, watching how I feel, energy levels, acid reflux, the whole 9 yards, where I need to be dialed in at. And for me, it really is a high restricted carbohydrate intake. And so give that some thought. One of the things I want to bring your attention to, there's a link below this video, turboketo.com. This is actually a hack that was designed through research for the U.S. Navy, where you can put your body into ketosis within 1 hour. And for somebody that is maybe struggling to get deeper into ketosis, this is a great way to do that. It's how I broke my plateau. And so give that a check out. There's an opportunity for you to take a trial of that as well. So anyway, look forward to talking with you again. Have a great day.